Good evening, I'm Stacey Amos for News Channel 8, and these are the top stories that we have for you tonight. New top brass for the V.I.H.A. Economic guru Warren Mosler and his outlook for our financial future in the VI. A Trinidadian senator's daughter is found murdered. And the second parts of our two medical stories, new urgent care alternatives and more on the multiple sclerosis support group. Those stories and more are up next for you on News Channel 8. Tonight, for the first time in 20 years, the V.I.H.A. has promoted a woman to the rank of Deputy Chief. Congratulations to Deputy Chief Maria Colon Jones. The St. Thomas St. John Deputy Chief shared her honor with two more newly promoted top brass yesterday as they were sworn in. Let's take a look.
Another chapter in the Virgin Islands Police Department was ushered in with the swearing in of St. Thomas St. John Police Chief Darren Foy and St. John Deputy Police Chief Maria Colon Jones on Monday, June 11th at the Virgin Islands Superior Court. The day held additional significance for both of the top cops. Chief Foy is 1 week shy of celebrating his 20th anniversary with the V.I.H.A. and Deputy Chief Jones makes V.I.H.A. history as the second police female deputy chief. The following day on St. Croix, Tuesday, June 12th, retired Captain James Paris was sworn in as Deputy Police Chief. Following his retirement in 1994 after 30 years of service, Captain Paris returned to the V.I.H.A. in 2009 as a member of the Cold Case Task Force. The St. Thomas swearing-in ceremony took place with Judge Brenda Holler officiating. And on St. Croix on Tuesday, Judge Julio Brady administered the oath of office to retired Police Captain James Paris in his courtroom in the Virgin Islands Superior Court.
In other news, there's an energy expo at the Juan Louis Cardiac Center this week. Here are some of the highlights.
Things cannot continue as before. That there has to be an investment in local resources to enable island nations and rural areas to be more self-sustaining, but more importantly, to help them resist and restructure themselves from external events that they have no control of. Because help may not always be there in the form and to the amount that is necessary. So understanding that the world has changed, you now have to change your thinking, your policies, and your processes to enable you to be resilient.
We are committed to making sure that through a systematic transition that we get away from our dependence on fossil fuel, not driven by the reality of no longer having a refinery on our island, but driven by the necessity that we have to begin to be able to have a community that understands the quality of life, not driven by the cost of electricity where it's at. And if you understand that, you understand the challenges that we have. You understand that we're not interconnected, we don't have a grid system, we don't have the benefit of multiple sources, such as the United States. When you look at the United States in the last year, you begin to understand why they can pay from 6 to 11 cents per kilowatt hour. They, at least, unlike us, are not as dependent. And all areas of the United States, at least in some capacity, have an interconnection that allow them to be able to survive.
We'd like to thank Earl Morris for providing us with that footage. Now, with Hovenza shutting down, businesses closing, and people leaving our territory in droves, is there a bright light at the end of the tunnel? News Channel 8's Wes Small poses that question to financial expert Warren Mosler.
We have with us Mr. Warren Mosler, financial expert in our territory. And I know, again, you have a lot to do and you're in a hurry, but I was just wondering, for the future, where do you see us going here in the territory? I believe 6 months I asked you the same thing, and it looked pretty bleak, but you did have some silver linings at the end of the tunnel. Do you still feel that way for us?
Yeah, I do, but it feels like things have been put on hold. And as before, we're going through a very severe downdraft here because the government's going to be losing $100 million in revenue and everything that means. 3,000 people or more leaving St. Croix, everything that means for businesses. And it's going to be a low spot. But After that, things I think are going to pick up and be better than before, because the fact is that an oil refinery, although it brings in jobs and money, it limits what you can do as an island, okay, and as a territory, because it's a blight on the island. I don't think anybody thinks that property values in St. John would go up if the refinery moved to St. John. Okay, that's just not how it works. And so, yes, we went down and we lost those jobs, but now we have a whole lot more upside. Our potential has gone up. Before, the refinery was limiting our potential on St. Croix. Developments and other things that didn't happen, we weren't in the corporate boardrooms, but I can assure you on some level they were saying, why would we put a resort where there's an oil refinery when we can put it on another island, Anguilla, somewhere else where there isn't?
Yes.
Okay, and so now that cloud or that ceiling has been taken away, the potential is unlimited for St. Croix, and over time we'll do better. But that doesn't help the people who are getting hurt right now, and people who are forced to leave, and families that are broken up, and businesses that are collapsing. So we've got to get from here to there, and it's not easy. And I've had some proposals that I've been working with Senator Russell on to get done, and we've gotten some progress and some agreement. But I'd like to say more, that it's more than talk right now. I can't say that, but I do feel like there's a glimmer of hope. We at least understand the problem and are working on solutions to get from here to there.
With that, just like last time, there is some light at the end of the tunnel, but we need to get there quicker. It's still dark. With Warren Mosler of the V.I.H.A Financial Group and also Mosler Economics, I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
There's a housing expo coming to St. Thomas and St. Croix soon. Here's more.
Governor John P. DeYoung Jr. has proclaimed June as National Housing Month, and the Virgin Islands Housing Finance Authority is encouraging the public to come out and participate in a number of community-enriching activities in celebration of Housing Month. The expo will be held on Saturday, June 16th at the St. Croix Central High Gymnasium, and on June 30th at the Mark C. Marin Center in Antilles School on St. Thomas. This year we've added a new feature where we will have a midday guest speaker, Meade Malone, speak about managing through difficult financial times. We'll have lots of workshops for people who are interested in purchasing their unit, if you're interested in finding about refinancing because of your financial situation. Again, the 2012 Housing Expo will be held on Saturday, June 16th at the St. Croix Central High School Gymnasium, and on Saturday, June 13th at the Mark C. Marin Center at the Antilles School on St. Thomas from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
We'd like to thank Earl Morris for providing us with that footage. Coming up, Trinidadian Senator Marlene Coudray is experiencing a mother's worst nightmare as her daughter has just been found murdered. That's next in your Caribbean Report.
This is News Channel 8. This is News Channel 8.
Now here's your Caribbean Report. From the Caribbean region, a horrific crime to report. San Fernando Mayor and Deputy Leader of Trinidad's UNC, Marlene Coudray, is battling to come to terms with a mother's worst nightmare. The body of her daughter, Michelle Coudray, was discovered on Sunday evening in a cane field in Montego Bay. Michelle's mortal remains have been burnt beyond recognition. Alarm was raised last week when Coudray's estranged son-in-law called his mother, the senator, expressing concern that Michelle had not shown up yet at a family event. From the Caribbean region, after making a strong recovery from the global financial crisis of 2009, the economies of Latin America and the Caribbean are once again facing external and domestic headwinds, with a strong link to the ongoing crisis over the euro, the World Bank has recently warned. And additional not-so-good news, a leading international credit agency has just downgraded the Caribbean Development Bank from AAA ranking, which is the firm's highest rating because its risk management has weakened. From the Caribbean region, some good news. A quartet of Hollywood film and television stars and screenwriters of Caribbean heritage will be honored as part of Caribbean Heritage Month. Puerto Rican actor Antonio Fargas, Trinidadian actress Lorraine Toussaint, Jamaican actress Cheryl Lee Ralph, and screenwriter and Guyanese producer Rob Edwards will all be honored on Friday, June 22nd at the 2012 Salute to Hollywood and the arts. From the BVI, Rondi Skelton, Film Commissioner of the BVI Tourist Board and Film Commission, will be attending the AFC trade show in California this week to increase the BVI's presence in the international film market and plans to meet with several key Hollywood executives. From Dominica, the Ministry of Education has announced plans to crack down on what he calls deviant behavior, including incidents of homosexuality in schools, which is apparently increasing. From the Dominican Republic, after 10 years since the World Against Child Labor Day was established, more than 304,000 Dominican children still perform tasks which deprive them of education, health, leisure, and basic freedoms. Apparently, 12% of the population aged 5 to 17 is subjected to work, with 8% doing hazardous labor. And also from the Dominican Republic, congratulations, the hemisphere's first European city, Santo Domingo, is also the Caribbean's top tourism destination and the 8th most visited city in Latin America, says World Mastercard's second yearly Global Tourism Destination Index. From Montserrat, never too young to learn, start right is the theme for this, the 5th year of celebrating June as Early Childhood Month on Montserrat. The events kicked off on Sunday with a church service at the Roman Catholic St. Patrick's Church at Lookout. From Trinidad, 70 Cuban doctors and nurses were each granted 2-year contracts for employment in the public health sector as the Ministry of Health seeks to address the shortage of doctors and nurses in the country. And in your cricket update, despite the swirling controversy over his ill-advised jibe at Sir Vivian Richards, West Indies wicketkeeper batsman Dinesh Ramdin was the biggest mover in the latest ICC player rankings. And the West Indies has defeated Middlesex by 228 runs in their one-day tour game at Lord's. Please be sure to check our Facebook page for all full details on stories in the Caribbean Report. Now, News Channel 8's Wes Small gives us the second part of our special report on a new medical facility that specializes in urgent care.
So our objective is, if you have a problem now, that at Juan Louis, we can get you where you need to go, and we plan to have wheels up in 90 minutes. That's our goal. And have you on your way when you need a serious medevac kind of a situation. So what we try to do is to just cover you from start to finish and to make sure that everybody is covered in terms of urgent problems, and even when it's really an emergent problem and you have to be medevaced off, we can do that in expedited time. The other thing that we do is that we realize that 70% of the patients that I see aren't coming for emergencies, but they're coming for long-term problems. I mean, these are chronic lifestyle kind of problems. So what we do is we do a lot of testing. So that's why
I come in.
That's where you come in.
Yes.
We have a sleep center. The only sleep center in St. Croix is right here at the office, so you no longer have to go to St. Thomas or to Puerto Rico in order to get sleep problems diagnosed. We also have a new test called the MET test. The MET test is a cardiac test, and this test is a test that catches heart disease very, very early, before you even have a problem. So before you even realize that there's an issue going on, we can pick it up with this new test and this new technology.
Before it's a murmur.
Before, I mean, at the point where you don't even know it's a murmur. And what we can do is diagnose. So we like to say that we can diagnose today the heart problem that could be your heart attack in 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And the advantage that we have with that and with the sleep lab is that we can find these problems early. And that allows us to treat you early before it becomes a lifelong problem or before permanent damage is done. Most of the time when we test people with the MET test, we catch them so early before they even have symptoms. And we can find the problem then, and we can reverse these, because the majority of them are reversible if we catch them in time.
Are you going to allow our cameras to go inside and take a look?
Absolutely. Let's come on in and let's look around. This is one of our sleep rooms, and this is one of the rooms where a patient will come in, and the sleep study is an overnight test. You come in at about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. We're going to hook you up to all kinds of different things. We're going to test your heart rate and your oxygen saturation. We'll tell you that you snore on your left side, or if you lay on your back, your oxygen saturation drops. We test all that kind of stuff. So you come in overnight, you come in 8 or 9 o'clock at night. You're going to finish up at about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and then we'll be getting your results back to you within about a week to 10 days. This is where the sleep technicians do their work all night long. So you're here with the technicians, and they monitor everything that you do on those computers right there. And on those computers, they're going to be checking and monitoring your oxygen saturation, your heart rate while you sleep. They'll be monitoring whether or not you have sleep apnea or any kind of restless leg syndrome, any kind of other disease. Wow. This is our second sleep room here, and when patients come, we can do 2 patients a night. And we encourage patients to come. Lots of times we'll do a husband and a wife. We can do mothers and daughters. We do all kinds of combinations, but we can do 2 a night. This has picked up a lot of different illnesses that people have. And this is where we do the med test right here. I'm encouraging everybody to come on in, get your med test done, get your sleep study done, because the earlier we can find out about a problem, the earlier we can diagnose it and treat it, and the better chance we have of getting a complete treatment. Here in the smoothie bar, what we do here is we provide nutritional meal replacement and healthy shakes. And that's one of the cornerstones of what we want to do. We want to make sure that people get the proper nutrition, whether you're trying to lose weight or whether you just need to eat healthy. So many people, and I'm the #1 person included, is miss breakfast. Breakfast is like your most important meal of the day. Your body's been fasting all day long. Your body needs nutrients when you wake up. If you don't get the right nutrients, if you don't get the right amount of carbohydrates, your body goes into starvation mode and shuts down. We want to make sure that people have an opportunity to get those nutrients and to get those things and to be able to do the kind of nutrients that they need in order to get the recovery that we diagnose that you may have when you have a problem. The other thing that we want to do is to make sure that if you need to lose 20 or 30 pounds, I'm not just going to have you lose the weight and just tell you need to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to help you lose the 30 pounds. And we're going to give you the support and the help that you need to get the weight off.
Acute Alternative is open every day of the week except Sunday. Dr. Campbell, we really appreciate you showing us everything, including the smoothies area. And you were saying yourself a way to lose weight, a way back to better health. The hours, again, are 7 to 7?
Yes, every day except for Saturdays. And Saturdays we're open from 8 to 12. And on Sundays we're closed.
And of course, you accept all types of insurance,
yes,
especially for you government employees out there. Absolutely. And so forth. There is another alternative instead of the only hospital. And we just really appreciate you showing us everything. Any last words?
Absolutely. We're just really excited. Me and the rest of my team, Lisa Edwards, Barbara Campbell, and the whole team that's helped put this together, we're really, really excited about what we've been able to do and what we've been able to bring to the island. And we just want to encourage everybody to come out, test early, and take advantage of what we are providing.
Phone number?
Phone number is 772-2883. That's 772-ACUTE.
And if you would like to go online and find out more,
health@acutealternative.com.
Thank you very much. With Dr. Lynn Campbell at Acute Alternative, I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes. And now my special report concludes on a dynamic multiple sclerosis support group headed by 2 very amazing individuals. We took a look last night at Cassandra Paul, but tonight we focus on Ella Jean Forbes, who was diagnosed with MS back in November 2010.
Knowing that you're alone or thinking that you're alone is pretty scary. And the worst thing you can do is get information that really does not explain what's going on in your body. But what I've understood about MS is that it is a chronic disease of the central nervous system, and that simply affects the ability of your nerves and your brain to communicate. And with MS, there is damage that's done to the outer covering of the nerves. And that damage is permanent. That cannot be regrown, it cannot be repaired, and the outer covering, which is called myelin, that damage then results in the disability that each person may suffer with from this disease. There are currently 4 main types of multiple sclerosis. And I'll just share some quick stats with you. 85% of all people that get diagnosed with multiple sclerosis are initially diagnosed with what's called relapsing remitting. And that is the type that both Cassandra and I have been diagnosed with. That means that it will go and it will come. So we'll have periods of time where we're actually in remission. Currently in the United States, there are 400,000 people that are affected and living with multiple sclerosis. Additionally, so there's a 2.5 total people living in the world with MS. So that's a lot of folks here. Unfortunately, we do not have numbers here for St. Croix, for the Virgin Islands, but I am sure that there are way more than myself and Cassandra and the few that meet within our support group every month. There's quite a few people here on St. Croix.
I started the support group, and it is really nice that I can talk to somebody, call them, chat shit with them on the phone, and sometimes take me out of my physical and mental pain that I'm going through, because they have gone through it also. if anybody's interested in joining the group, I can be reached. My phone number is 332-1482. You can call me at any time. And Ella Jean's
Right. You can reach me at 227-4046, and likewise, call me anytime.
Remember, there is no cure for multiple sclerosis, so please contact Ella Jean or Cassandra to find out how you can help support the St. Croix MS group. Coming up, it's Swimming in Your Sports 411.
This newscast has been sponsored by Mario's Virgin Crystal. Let us save you the hassle of lugging those jugs around. Purified bottled water conveniently delivered to your home or office. Also available in your favorite grocery store. Call 773-2810.
This is News Channel 8. This is News Channel 8.
The St. Croix Dolphins swim team recently held their annual meet. Let's take a look.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our 30th annual Dolphins Invitational Swim Meet. My name is Daniel Dasher, and I'm the St. Croix Dolphins president, and I'm both honored and humbled to be here today and be able to thank you and welcome you to our event.
One of the joys of being governor is an opportunity to come and to see the next generation that takes over. And being here is really something that for me is a tremendous honor, because when I look at these athletes that are from Tortola, from St. Martin, from St. Croix, from North Georgia, it makes me realize that we're in very good hands with things that I would never even think of doing. So watching them and seeing what they're going to do, I just think is tremendous. And for this last year, for what the Dolphins have achieved as ambassadors for the Virgin Islands, I really have to tell you from afar, I admire everything that is done.
Go, they start to burn it up for who can be the St. Lawrence Splash champion. And lane 4, I believe, is Catholic. They're away, and the first correction has been made. It is Ace Lynn in lane 1. And swimmers in the next heat, please report before you come for blocks. V.I.H.A quickly jumps out in front. Followed closely by Mary in lane 2 and Amanda McKay in lane 4. V.I.H.A easily out in front. In lane 6, Aaron Andrews pulling it up. In lane 5, Haley Bergson. And in lane 4, Amanda McKay. In lane 1, Aislinn. In lane 2, Mary Page. Mia with less than 3 meters to go.